Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I'm Dr. Kem, and today we're embarking on a high-stakes investigation into the paradoxes of probability. We're going to look at exactly how our intuition about data can completely betray us, and how a really rigorous framework, specifically conditional probability and Bayesian reasoning, can literally save lives, prevent massive security failures, and honestly just completely sharpen the way we interpret every single piece of data we encounter. Okay, so let's dive right in with a seemingly obvious question. Imagine a randomly stopped driver tests positive on a police breathalyzer. Now, we're told this breathalyzer has a 5% false positive rate, which means it's 95% accurate at identifying when someone is completely sober, and it never misses a truly drunk person. So the machine flashes red, they're drunk. Most of us would instantly assume, well, there's a 95% chance this person is intoxicated, right? Well, brace yourselves, because the actual probability that this specific driver is drunk is a shocking 1.96%. I know, it sounds insane. This massive gap between human intuition and mathematical reality is a cognitive dissonance we call the false positive paradox. Seriously, how on earth can an instrument that is 95% accurate be wrong more than 98% of the time in the real world? To solve this mystery, we have to completely rewire our brains and shift our thinking toward conditional probability. This is basically the science of reasoning about an outcome based on partial information. We aren't just asking, how accurate is the machine overall? No, we're asking for the probability of event A, the driver being drunk, conditioned on knowing that event B has already occurred, meaning we already know the test result is positive. Mathematically, you'll see this written as P of A given B. Let's actually walk through the math behind this breathalyzer paradox, because it brilliantly illustrates the problem. Think about the general population for a second. In our scenario, let's say only 1 in 1,000 drivers on the road is actually driving drunk. If we test 1,000 random drivers, we catch that one drunk person. That's our one true positive. But we're also testing 999 completely sober drivers, and that 5% false positive error rate applied to those 999 sober individuals, it generates nearly 50 false positives. So out of about 51 positive tests, only one single person is actually guilty. Now, our ultimate weapon for navigating this kind of statistical minefield is Bayes' theorem. This formula formally translates all these overlapping conditions into a single, incredibly elegant equation. It basically allows us to flip our conditioning. If we know the probability of a positive test given a drunk driver, Bayes' rule lets us calculate the exact opposite, the probability of a drunk driver given a positive test. The secret engine of this theorem, and honestly, the main reason our intuition completely failed us earlier, is the prior probability. We also call this the base rate. The base rate acts as the anchor for our mathematical reality. You see, if the condition you're looking for, like driving drunk at a specific time of day, is incredibly rare, your prior probability is tiny, and it exerts this massive downward gravitational pull on your final result. Let's up the stakes here and see how this plays out in a literal life or death scenario. We're going to apply these exact same principles to interpreting medical tests for rare diseases, pulling specifically from a clinical case study on diagnosing tuberculosis. In medicine, ignoring the base rate isn't just some harmless logic error on a chalkboard. It can lead to devastating real-world misdiagnoses. So the crucial point in medical diagnostics is distinguishing between two different performance measures for any given test: sensitivity and specificity. Sensitivity is your true positive rate. It's the test's ability to correctly find the sick patients. Specificity, on the other hand, is your true negative rate. It's the test's accuracy in clearing the healthy patients. Now, a perfect test has 100% of both. But as we know, in the real world, absolutely no test is perfect. In our clinical case study for tuberculosis, we start by looking at the population data to find our base rate. The prevalence of TB in this specific general population, our prior probability, is incredibly low. It sits at just 0.005. That means only 0.5% of the population actually has the disease. Okay, so we bring in a highly sensitive chest X-ray to screen for the disease. The sensitivity is an impressive 98%, but the specificity is only 90%. This means that when you're scanning completely healthy individuals, the test carries a 10% false positive rate. Now, that might sound like a reasonably small margin of error for a medical device, or at least so it seems. But watch what happens when we plug all of this into Bayes' theorem. Accounting for that tiny 0.005 prior probability and that 10% false positive rate acting against the massive healthy population, the posterior probability of actually having TB after a positive X-ray is a mere 4.69%. That means over 95% of the people who get a positive result on this highly sensitive scan are perfectly healthy. Let that sink in. This paper from the International Research Journal of Modernization in Engineering, Technology, and Science actually proves this out. They show that without incorporating disease prevalence into our logic, clinicians will drastically overestimate the significance of positive results. And this is incredibly serious, you know? If a doctor only looks at the 98% sensitivity of the machine, they might initiate aggressive, potentially harmful treatments on patients suffering from nothing more than the false positive paradox. Now, as doctors try to add more tests and symptoms to increase their certainty, the math gets significantly more complex, often requiring what we call Bayesian belief networks. When we combine symptoms, we have to model conditional independence. We have to understand that just because you have one symptom, it doesn't automatically mean another one is related. If we assume variables are entirely independent when they actually aren't, our probability models just break down completely. Let's escalate the stakes even further, from the clinic to national security, and explore how this cognitive blind spot, the Bayes rate fallacy, can trigger systemic collapse in automated terrorist screening. Because when governments deploy mass surveillance, they are wrestling with the exact same mathematical forces as our clinical diagnosticians, just on a much larger, much more urgent scale. Imagine a city deploying an automatic facial recognition system. Let's say this city has a population of exactly 1 million people. There are 100 terrorists hiding among almost 1 million non-terrorists. The camera software has a seemingly impressive failure rate of just 1% across the board, a 1% false negative rate for missing the bad guys, and a 1% false positive rate for flagging innocent civilians. Sounds pretty solid, right? Wrong. When you run 1 million people past these cameras, the sheer volume of the innocent Bayes rate triggers an absolute catastrophe. Sure, our 99% accuracy rate catches 99 out of the 100 terrorists. But that 1% false positive rate applied to 999,900 innocent people, it falsely flags 9,999 innocent civilians. The system is completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of errors. To see exactly why this happens mathematically, we use the total probability theorem. This theorem is how we calculate the denominator in Bayes' rule. We basically have to break down every possible outcome, every sequential path of the experiment across the entire population, both terrorists and non-terrorists, and add up all the ways the alarm could possibly ring to find our true denominator. And when you actually do that math, the probability that a ringing alarm has caught a terrorist is less than 1%. Think about that for a second. You buy a 99% accurate security camera, but when it actually rings, there is less than a 1% chance the person in front of it is a real threat. It completely shatters the illusion of the hardware's accuracy. This perfectly highlights a really key diagnostic concept called positive predictive value, or PPV. The PPV is the actual probability that a positive test means you have the condition. And as we've just seen, it relies almost entirely on the frequency, the prevalence of the target in the population. You absolutely cannot evaluate a test's usefulness without knowing the environment it operates in. And as systems try to fix this by matching multiple attributes, say looking for any 15 out of 1,000 specific threat indicators, combinatorics cause the false alerts to mathematically explode. Because you're combining so many variables, adding more rules doesn't fix the problem. It creates this mathematical explosion of false alerts. At a critical population size, a system failure becomes mathematically certain, scaling way beyond human control, regardless of how much you tweak the hardware. Okay, so to protect ourselves from these statistical illusions, whether we're diagnosing a patient, evaluating a security threat, or honestly just reading the news, we have to always follow these 3 fundamental steps of Bayesian reasoning. First, firmly identify your prior probability, your Bayes rate. Second, observe the new evidence. And third, mathematically update your belief to find the posterior probability. As the researchers in our clinical study noted, this isn't just some math trick. Bayesian inference is an entire philosophy of decision-making. It demands that we constantly update our beliefs in the face of new, uncertain evidence, but only while respecting the fundamental reality of the environment we live in. We must always anchor our reactions to the Bayes rate. So, I'll leave you with this final lingering thought. The next time an automated system flags a crisis, or a medical test comes back positive, or some headline screams about a new 99% accurate prediction, are you going to blindly trust the alarm, or will you take a step back, remember the math, and ask for the Bayes rate?